Have you ever sensed an emptiness, a longing for something greater that no familiar path could ever fill? Today, I want to share the remarkable journey of a young man from Japan, Naoki, who wrestled with these very questions. Raised in a culture steeped in Buddhist tradition, he lived a life where the answers were seemingly predetermined by age-old customs. Yet, deep inside, he harbored an undeniable yearning for an absolute truth that could illuminate the darkness in his heart. But what made him question everything he once believed? What obstacles did he face on his path to discovering Islam? And most importantly, what did he find in Islam that changed his life forever? His search would eventually lead him to a faith that transformed his existence, Islam. Naoki was born in Aichi, Japan, a region known for its rich history and deep-rooted traditions. From his earliest days, the rhythms of Buddhist chants and the calm serenity of ancient temples were the backdrop of his life. In a small town where every street and shrine whispered the customs of generations past, he grew up under the watchful eyes of his family. Yet even as a child, amidst the gentle routine of his community, a curious spark flickered within him. He often wondered about the mysteries beyond his immediate world, a question of identity and purpose that would later drive him to search for a truth that transcended tradition. In a world where Buddhism was interwoven into every aspect of daily life, Naoki learned to meditate, visited ancient temples, and studied the timeless teachings handed down through generations. Yet, even amid the serene ambience of these sacred spaces, he could not silence the relentless questions: who am I? What is my purpose? And why does a part of me remain unfulfilled? The endless cycle of reincarnation, the belief in an eternal loop of births and rebirths, only deepened his uncertainty, leaving him with more questions than answers. He longed for a truth that was final and illuminating. As he grew older, the teachings he had once embraced began to feel confining. The sacred texts and rituals, though revered by many, no longer provided the answers he craved. He felt torn between the comfort of the familiar and the uncertainty of a new path. Every day, his inner voice grew louder, urging him to look beyond the traditions that had shaped his upbringing, to search for a truth that could finally bring him peace. Fate intervened when he was granted the opportunity to study abroad in Australia, a land vibrant with diverse cultures and fresh perspectives. In Melbourne, he encountered a family whose warmth shattered his long-held misconceptions about Islam. An Egyptian family welcomed him as one of their own, treating him with kindness and unconditional generosity. This encounter planted the seed of curiosity about a faith that spoke of absolute truth, unity, and profound compassion. In Australia, as he delved into the study of Islam, every conversation and every page he read chipped away at the remnants of doubt. He discovered that Islam offered the clear, absolute truth he had been seeking, a direct connection with a compassionate creator that transcended cultural boundaries. Yet, the decision to embrace this new faith was not made lightly. Fear gnawed at him. What would his family say? How would his community react? In his struggle, he found inspiration in the transformative journey of Malcolm X, a man who had overcome a troubled past to embrace a higher purpose. This powerful example gave him the courage he needed to take the leap. It was a late, quiet evening in Melbourne. The city lights shimmered faintly through the window of his small student apartment, casting long shadows across the wooden floor. Naoki had just finished watching the Malcolm X film, the final nudge his heart had needed. The story of a man once lost to crime, finding his way to truth, had awakened something profound in him. That night, the noise of the outside world faded into stillness. Alone in his room, with nothing but his thoughts, he turned off the lights. The only illumination came from the soft screen glow and a small desk lamp beside him. He stood silently, then slowly lowered himself onto the floor. Knees first. Then his hands. Then his forehead. For the first time in his life, Naoki made sujud. In the most intimate act of submission, he wept as he spoke to Allah, words he had never said before but always needed to. He whispered the Shahada, not out loud at first, but in his heart. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. He said it again, this time aloud, with trembling lips and tearful eyes. It wasn't inside a mosque or before a crowd. No one was there to witness it. But in that small, sacred moment, kneeling on his apartment floor beneath the stars of a foreign land, Naoki was reborn. The emptiness that had haunted him for years was gone. In its place came a peace so deep it quieted every fear. A connection so real it reached into his soul. That was the night he returned to Allah. That was the night Naoki became a Muslim. Returning to his homeland with his newfound faith, he faced a challenge he had never anticipated. With a heart full of hope, he shared his journey with his family, describing every step from the doubts of his past to the clarity he had found. Instead of the acceptance he had longed for, his words were met with shock and rejection. In a moment that would haunt him forever, his own father declared, "If you are still a Muslim, then you are not my son anymore." Those words shattered his spirit and left him isolated in a world that suddenly felt cold and unforgiving. Yet, in the midst of this profound loss, there was a glimmer of hope. Rejected by those who were meant to love him, he turned to the welcoming arms of the Muslim community. In a mosque in Kobe, an Egyptian Imam listened to his pain and offered the guidance he so desperately needed. With compassion and encouragement, the Imam helped him secure a scholarship to study at Al-Azhar University, opening a door to further knowledge and healing. It was here that he began to rebuild his identity on the foundation of faith and community support. Though his father never accepted Islam, in the final days before he passed, he left a simple letter. In it, he wrote, "If I had more time with you, maybe I would have embraced what you believe. You are still my son." Those words were all he needed. Today, Naoki lives as a proud Muslim and one of the 4 Imams of the Japan Muslim Association. In a land where his faith still sets him apart, he raises his children with the gentle wisdom of Islam. Though the journey has been marked with rejection, solitude, and struggle, he now stands not only as a father, but as a guide to others. As an Imam, he dedicates his life to bridging hearts, correcting misunderstandings, and nurturing new Muslims who walk the same path he once did. His life is living proof, even when the world turns its back on you, Allah opens new doors. And through pain, purpose is born. This is not just a tale of hardship and rejection, it is a story of hope, resilience, and the transformative power of faith. It reminds us that even in our darkest moments, there is a path toward healing and renewal. I share this story with you today so that you may understand that every soul, regardless of its past, can find its light. If you are searching for truth, do not be afraid to question. If you have felt the sting of rejection, know that every ending is the beginning of a new chapter. And if you have discovered peace in your faith, let it shine brightly, guiding others on their own journey toward understanding and unity.